Hi and welcome back. This is the first in a 6-part series of delivering gymnastics at primary school. We're going to look at 6 different sessions in total, building towards a final performance. In each video, we're going to look at a specific theme, we're going to look at how that actually looks inside a gymnastics lesson, and at the end we'll share 3 top tips to help your teaching go even further. And here we are in week 1 of gymnastics, and we're going to look at different balances, in particular point and patch balances. These are the foundations for an excellent start and finish to their routine. With a point balance, you're going to use your feet and or hands to balance. Now children will naturally differentiate to standing on both feet to doing more advanced and complex balances. And then we have a patch balance, which is balancing without the use of your hands and feet. Encourage children to experiment using different parts of their body, balancing on their bum, back, tummy, knees and so on. At this point it's worth reminding children to be safe, and we're not going to do any balances on the head. Gymnastics is a hugely complicated and demanding subject for children, so your gymnastics lessons won't look anything like this, and they shouldn't look anything like this either. So how does it look within a primary school PE lesson? Firstly, we're going to lay out the mats in the hall, even better if you can get the children to do it, and when they come in one at a time, they're going to find their mat and sit ready for the session to start. As with classroom sessions, we encourage children to enter the learning space quietly and safely. This sets the right tone for learning. Introduce children to patch and point balances, and then be sure to give them time to experiment. They'll probably be very excitable and will want to try out a ton of different ideas. Encourage children to hold balances for at least 4 seconds. This shows that they have full control over the balance. And be sure to step back, giving children time to think. This gives them the opportunity to be creative and to steal ideas from other children. This first part will take up about 1/3 of the PE lesson, and it's worth keeping an eye out for those children that are holding balances super still and using them to demonstrate what a good balance looks like in front of the rest of the class. And now we move on to the performance phase, which will take up the other 2/3 of the lesson. You're going to ask children to deliver a sequence of balances, 2 patch balance and 2 point balances. Children can do this in any order. This gives them ownership over what sequence they choose to deliver. In addition, we can also ask children to think about how many points of contact they're going to have with the floor. They're going to combine this with their newfound knowledge of patch and point balances to deliver another sequence. Allowing them to do it in any order gives children real freedom over their own piece of work. Before we move on to our top tips, here are some expectations that I found have really helped over the years. Only allow 1 child on the mat at a time. This gives them full space to be able to try out different balances and safe if the balances goes a little bit wonky. We also expect everyone to perform at some point. For some children, this is genuinely terrifying, the idea of having to do something in front of the rest of the class. So to help ease that worry, ask children to deliver in groups. This ensures that several children are delivering at the same time and there's not one spotlight on any one person. And our final expectation is the role of the audience during the performances. They must sit and watch quietly, showing maximum respect to those children performing. And now our 3 top tips. Typically, children will steam in there trying to do movements that are as complicated as possible. It's just what they do. We make sure that we keep this excitement but channel it towards quality. If we allow children to take shortcuts and rush to that performance, it's not going to help them long term. Instead, we need to focus on getting each bit right every single week to ensure that when we do perform, it has much more quality. Our second tip is to add music. This will boost the energy levels of the room, and those children that are a little bit apprehensive will soon get swept up and involved. This also prevents the performances from being delivered in sterile silence. Instead, it's going to have a much more high production feeling. I do have background music in my channel, so I'll make sure that I link that at the end. And our final tip is to remind children that this is not a gymnastics club, it's a gymnastics lesson. Gymnastics clubs have a lot of coaches who can guide children through more complicated movements like headstands and cartwheels. As school teachers, we don't have that luxury. For that reason, keep the movements much more simple, especially with Key Stage 1. We do obviously give more freedom to those children who are a part of gymnastics club because they're much more aware of their own body and limitations compared to other children that might not be as experienced. Thank you for watching everyone. I hope that you found this week's video useful. If you did, then please like and share the video with anybody else that you feel may benefit from it. And as always, remember to subscribe so that you can catch next week's video. I'll see you then.